Schaefer and Church D coming at you once again. Thank you for tuning into What Does It Take to Win? Yet another beautiful day. This month is flying right by. Before you know it, we'll be in a brand new month and just flying through this year. Well, hey, check this out. I'm going to start off with my promo like I've been doing each episode. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with what I'm about to say right now, but hey, it doesn't hurt to say it again. So if you would like to purchase my music, I recently dropped a brand new album by the name of Something's Missing that came out January 25th, 2021. 13 amazing tracks on there. I've been getting a lot of great feedback on that. So be sure to check it out. It has some really cool vibes on there, some jazz, some R&B. I did a little bit of reggae and some funk as well. So if you're into that stuff, definitely check it out. If you're not, get into it and still check it out. You can also check out my entire catalog of music. In 2019, I dropped my very first album by the name of The Cactus, Bare Minimum 2.0. That's a jazz instrumental album. And then in March of 2020, I dropped a single by the name of The Vision. It's more like futuristic jazz with some cool elements that are in there. Check that out. It came out March 16th, so the day right before St. Patrick's Day in 2020. In fact, that's right when the pandemic was starting and we were going into lockdown. I was giving you guys some great tunes to listen to. And of course, the EP that I had dropped in the beginning of summer by the name of The Big Reveal. Been getting a ton of great reviews on that one. Everyone seems to love it. That has, again, some more jazz vibes and a little bit of reggae, a little Afrobeat on there as well. 6 amazing tracks that any and everybody can listen to. So it's good, clean music. As I always say, I make music for intelligent people. So, you know, jump on board. Be like the others. Okay. Also, if you are in need of some instrumentals, some beats, etc., you can go ahead and find me on soundclick.com/churchd. Have over 100 instrumentals available for download, for purchase. And you can use it however you'd like to use it. If you're a rapper, if you're a singer, songwriter, and you need some tunes to vibe to, go ahead and grab those. If you are somebody who creates content like myself and you need like a jingle or some background music, go ahead and grab it. Hey, anything you need, I got for you. Okay. So you can go ahead, soundclick.com/churchd, or you can just click the link that's in this description. It will take you to my link tree. So it's linktree/churchdsPro, or you can use my other one, linktree/churchd, and you can just check out all my content. So you can find my YouTube channel. You can find my production services if you want me to produce an album for you or a single or whatever it is. Anything you want to know about me, my biography, you can go ahead and find it there. So check out the link that's in this description. All right, so that wasn't too bad for the promo. Once again, I want to give a shout out to before I forget, to all of my listeners all across the world, all over the United States, North, South, East, and West. My listeners in Europe, my listeners in Africa, and my listeners in Asia. And I think I had a couple in South America, which was pretty cool. Oh, yes, and I definitely have some in Australia. So shout out to you guys as well. All right, so that's it for my promo. Let's go ahead and jump into the topic for the hour. Or the 15 minutes, like I said on the last episode. I do apologize if I went a little bit longer in the previous episode. I just had a lot to say, and I really wanted you guys to be able to absorb it and, you know, receive any sort of help that you may need. So, yeah, don't be mad at me. I'm just trying to help you guys out, okay? So, in this episode, I'm actually going to be focusing on things that don't necessarily happen how we want them to happen, and it not making sense to us at the time. So the title of this episode is, It'll Make Sense Later. Clever, huh? I don't know. So yeah, pretty much when things don't seem to be adding up, just what I would say to do is continue to stand firm. And I have 3 quick and easy points that I would like to focus on. The first point will be to keep doing what you're doing. The second point is you probably didn't do anything wrong, so don't blame yourself for it. And the third and final point is now it's all starting to make sense. So it's pretty much going to make sense. You just have to stand firm. So let's start from the top. Let's dive right into point number 1. Keep doing what you're doing. Now, the worst thing you could do is give up when things don't look like they're going your way. For instance, certain situations we can control, like especially with time. So in certain situations, we can control time. Like let's say we're working on a project and we put a time limit on it, or we set a deadline, we can to an extent control what's going to get done before that deadline needs to be met. Okay, not a big issue. Now we have to look at actual time itself. That's something we can't control. We have absolutely no control over time. We're going to continue growing older. The clock is just going to keep ticking. We can't have, we're going to have cycles, obviously, but 5:30 p.m. today is not going to be the same as 5:30 p.m. tomorrow. Okay, so that's something we can't control. That's out of our hands. It's fully in the hands of God. And we just simply have to align with whatever plan he has for us. This is why I say just keep doing what you're doing, and be sensitive to like whatever God's going to tell you to do next. Because as long as you're working, you're getting stuff done. It's disappointing when you stop working, you're getting nothing done, and you're not hearing what your next move should be. At least you'd be building something that you can take along with you to that next level, than remaining stagnant and just sort of sitting back like, okay, what do I do? I'm giving up, things aren't going as planned. No, that's something you never want to do. Okay, just continue, stand firm, keep working on what you're working on. Because eventually the light bulb is going to turn on. You're going to come up with an idea, or somebody's going to just show up randomly and say, hey, I see that you're over here grinding. Can I be of some assistance? And then boom, you're blessed. So yeah, just keep it up. Don't quit. Don't give up. Keep doing what you're doing. So that's that for point number 1. Moving right along to point number 2, because I don't want to keep you guys as long as I did in the previous episode. Point number 2, you probably didn't do anything wrong, so don't blame yourself. So if you're one of those people, like me especially, if you're one of those people who are out here and you're working hard for what you want, you're trying to do everything the right way, trying to do everything the legal way. That's another story. But you see that things aren't quite happening the way you would like it to happen, or they're not happening as quickly as you would like it to happen. It's not your fault. Don't blame yourself. Like I mentioned, you're not in control of time, so to say. Like, you could set deadlines, obviously, but it all depends on what God's plan is for your life. And you're just going to have to keep grinding. Now, yes, sometimes you can blame others. Well, I wouldn't say blame others, but sometimes others will play a role in how things play out in your life. But again, ultimately, this is all God's plan. So, and I don't want to sound too preachy on this, but you literally have to just trust in the plan that God has for your life, and just move with that. And don't blame yourself. Like, for example, with me, especially when I was coming up, I would look at other people, and I said this on a different episode. I look at other people and I'm just like, wow, how come they're reaching this level of success and I'm doing the same thing they're doing? If not, I'm doing a little bit more and I'm doing a better job at it, and I just didn't get it for the longest time. I would begin to blame myself, and that would become very stressful. I'm just like, okay, well, what's going on? Am I cursed? Like, am I not working hard enough, or am I not smart enough? What's going on? But the truth of the matter is, it just wasn't my time yet. You know what I'm saying? I just had to sit back and wait and let everything fall into place. Like I said, it's all God's plan. Okay, like the Drake song, right? Anyways, so yeah, you didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. We didn't do anything wrong. It's just a timing issue. Just it's going to happen. So that's that for point number 2. Like I said, I'm flying along. Here's the third and final point. And it simply states, now it's all starting to make sense. So this is when you spend all that time questioning, all that time hurting, all that time being somewhat confused about your destiny, about, prospering, about just getting basic wins in life. You spent all that time feeling low. Now things are beginning to come together. Now you're starting to understand why you had to go to that college, or why you had to experience that heartbreak, or why you didn't get that job, or why you had to meet those people. Now it's all starting to make sense. Why? Once again, because God had a better plan for you. I'll leave you with this. Well, there's a couple scenarios I can talk about on this. So when I was going to college, right? And I'm sure I've spoken about this before, but here's just a quick refresher. I chose a certain college that wasn't too far away from my home state. So I'd be able to, travel back and forth and help serve at the local church that I was serving at during that time. I chose that college. I could have went anywhere else in the world, but I chose that specific college. And it's simply because I went to that college, I was able to connect with some people who helped me to get to where I wanted to get to. And the way that worked out, it wasn't even someone who went to my college. It was somebody I met off campus at a completely unrelated event. And, we just sort of stayed in contact, lost contact actually a couple times over the course of, I think, 3 or 4 years. But once we came back into contact, we were rocking ever since. And, this person really connected me with like a lot of great things that I was able to do, even up until this point. So I'm forever grateful for that. Now, I could have gone to any other college, like I mentioned, in the world, but I chose to go to that state. I chose that university, and I honestly didn't know much about that university before I decided to commit to it, but something just felt right, and I believe that was just me listening to the voice of God at that point, even as a youngin', if you will. And, just he had my steps ordered from there. Okay. Here's another scenario too. This is fast forward to when I was out of college. And I took up a job, and it was a contract type of position, with the option to make it permanent. And so, I'm there working hard. And, I took a break, and I'm pretty sure I said this before. I took a break, got up from my desk, and just sort of started to look out the window while at work. And I was just, looking at the campus of where I was working. And I was like, wow, this is a really nice place to work. I wouldn't mind working here for the long run. Like, this can go permanent. I'll work here full time. I'm down for it. Like, I would totally do it. I'll commit to this and make a career out of this, right? So I thought that to myself. But then the last part I said inwardly was, if you have bigger plans for me, God, just let me know and take me off this job, and I'll be okay with that. Okay, well, a couple months later, I didn't have that job anymore, and it was over a really petty reason, and I was quite angry at it. But if I had stayed at that job, I would not have been able to tour the world and travel all of those countries I've seen, and, do what I love to do professionally, so it's all about aligning and letting it make sense. Like back then when they were saying, okay, we don't want you anymore, I'm just like, well, why? Why don't you want me? You've been saying that I've been doing a great job here, and now all of a sudden you don't want me anymore. What's going on, people? Like, come on, let me know. It didn't make sense. But if you fast forward a couple years into the future, it made perfect sense as to why they had to let me go, because I had a bigger calling. I had bigger plans that were, assigned to my life. Okay. Well, God had bigger plans, and I'm sure he has bigger plans for you as well. I'm going to leave you with this last portion, last but not least, is one more story. Well, it's not a story. It's true. This is something that happened to me. A couple years back, I was actually planning on relocating, and everything was all set, and I was ready to relocate. And then something just happened last minute where this group of people completely blocked me from being able to relocate. And I just sat there and I was just like, this is the craziest thing that nobody even hears of. Like, how is this able to happen to me? So it was really painful to deal with. I dealt with that for a long time, as a matter of fact, just questioning, saying, okay, well, why did this happen to me? Like, what is this about? It just didn't make any type of sense to me, right? So, fast forward to not too long ago, I ended up being at the right place at the right time, which allowed me to help somebody that was very close to me. I actually ended up helping to save a life. Now, if I wasn't there at that time, if I had relocated, things could have definitely turned for the worse. I actually ended up finding the person, and there was another individual who was around at the time, but they would have found this person at a much later time. I don't want to go too much into detail, obviously, because it's a little touchy to me, but I just figured I'd share this with you. But yeah, I found them literally just in time to call 911 and say, hey guys, this is what's happening. And just sort of, walk them through and talk about everything with the first responders, just to make sure that everything goes well, and, you know, that we're not crying and, you know what I'm saying, having a funeral, if you will. So that, it made sense at that point as to why I wasn't able to relocate a few years prior. You know, back then I didn't understand it. I'm just like, okay, well, you know, I can do this, I can do that. I'm all set up with this. Let me just go for it. And it was completely blocked. And the way it was blocked was just like the most randomest way, if that's the best way I could put it. Like, it's something that you don't hear about. You know, it's something that you might read about and people will say, okay, this has the potential to happen, but it's very unlikely. Well, it actually happened to me. But it was for a good reason. It was, I believe, all a part of God's plan to allow me to save a life, or to be a part of saving a life. So I'm forever grateful for that. And now that makes sense to me. So hopefully, you know, going forward, when certain situations happen to you guys, to the listeners out there, and you don't understand it at that point, you can think back to these 3 stories that I just gave you. And these aren't just stories. Like I said, this is real life for me. And it'll begin to make sense. You know, you can kind of pump your brakes and calm down a bit and say, okay, well, if it happened this way for him, then surely there's got to be a bigger and better plan for me. It'll make sense later. And that was my 3rd and final point. Okay, it wasn't as long as the previous episode. Whew. Okay, let's do a quick recap and then I'm going to let you guys go. The first point is to keep doing what you're doing. Worst thing you could do is give up when things don't look like they're going your way. The second point is you probably didn't do anything wrong, so don't blame yourself. I know it's so easy to play the blame game, but it's really not your fault 9 times out of 10. Just keep grinding. God's got your back. And the third and final point is that now it's starting to make sense. Okay, so what if you didn't get that job? So what if you weren't able to relocate? So what if you went to this school in this state? Hey, it's all a part of God's plan, and it's going to make sense later. You just got to stay consistent and trust the process. Thanks for listening to this podcast. I hope it blessed you and I hope it encouraged you. Hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and to share this. Share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with people you don't even like. Share it with that person who keeps bothering you for advice. I got you covered. And lastly, if you'd like to connect with me, just click the link in the description for all of my content. I have some great things in store for you. Thanks for tuning in. God bless.